Hey everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
I guess you both have joined. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Sukriti. It's great to have you also, Arun.
I think we should wait for a few more people to join in.
We should.
I think this is for the second time we are doing this webinar on, DFM.
Yes.
I think you must also be very excited to do
Uh,
it again.
yes. We want to show the world, right, what we have built.
Exactly. And the topic today is one-click NiFi data flow deployment with 70% lower cost. So I think it will excite people who will be watching it, that they'll be reducing so much of cost. So let's just wait for a few more people. Anil has also joined us now.
Hey, Arun.
Hi, Anil.
Hey, hello, hi Sukriti.
Mm.
Hi Manish.
It's 10:01. Shall we begin? What do you say, Manish and Darpan?
I think we
All
can
set.
start. I
Yes,
think maybe
we
we
are
can,
all set.
yeah,
Yes.
let people join in between. And, if they have any questions, we can take them, as the demo progresses.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Okay, I'm just sharing the screen, Manish.
Yeah, please go.
My screen is visible, right?
Yeah. Maybe go to the first slide. First slide.
Yes.
I'm seeing the live. Yeah. Okay, now I can see.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's begin. Uh, so first again, welcome and thank you everyone for joining this call and showing your interest to understand what DFM is, what KSOL has brought to the market in terms of NiFi flow ops. So as the slide says, right, DFM is a one-click NiFi data flow deployment tool which helps you reduce your costs also almost by 70%. It is the first ever UI driven tool which helps you not only do your NiFi flow deployments, but also helps you optimize NiFi flow performance and minimize your costs. So in short, DFM or Data Flow Manager helps you automate, deploy, and scale your NiFi deployment, NiFi data flow deployments. All right, next slide. So what are these challenges when you're using uh, open source Apache NiFi and you have to do NiFi data flow deployments? First and foremost, the process is completely manual. If you have to deploy your data flows, NiFi flows from one NiFi cluster to another cluster, a lot of manual tasks are involved. You have to export these flows, you have to configure them, you have to configure the variables, you have to configure the flow variables, you have to do the other configuration control services, and then you have to import that into the other NiFi, the target NiFi cluster. This is all manual. Even if you have scripts, those scripts can still be error prone, but lot of it takes a lot of time, as well as in case something, if that flow does not deploy correctly, you have to do a manual rollback, which again is error prone. So the whole process itself is time consuming and tedious. Then you need to ensure that the user who is doing that NiFi flow deployment has correct permissions. He has right access on each cluster before that deployment actually happens. Also, as your number of NiFi flow grows, so does your time for deployment. Hence, you will run into scaling challenges as the number of NiFi data flows grows. Next. So, besides these, there are, even if you have fixed your NiFi data flow deployment, you still have other challenges which are which need to be fixed, whether you're using enterprise NiFi or open source NiFi. There will be high licensing cost, high maintenance cost. Because it is an enterprise NiFi, you will not be able to deploy your own NiFi custom processors, for example. You will have limited customization. Then you need to have an in-house expertise to do that deployment. You will have certain security or compliance risks. Then you don't get any monitoring or alerting out of the box. You will have to build your own custom, maybe some custom integration with your uh, monitoring system, or you may have to write your own scripts to achieve that same. Now, what if you could cut costs, simplify your operations, achieve a solution for all of these challenges, and yet stay within complete control? That is what DFM is. So, DFM is the first ever UI driven NiFi data flow deployment tool which has its own complete portal, it has its own control panel, and it is very seamless and very easy, very intuitive to operate. You do not need any NiFi expertise to utilize DFM for your data flow deployments. It provides you almost a low code or no code interface. It comes with it helps you reduce your overall NiFi operation costs by almost 70%. It has support for multi-NiFi environments, and it comes with a complete 24/7 KSOL support, so you can rest assured that your NiFi environments are running stable. Additionally, DFM is built on top of open source NiFi, so you're not tied to any vendor. You are free. If you have your own team, you are still free to use them. It is not that you are tied to any vendor. Next slide. So, what are these what we call as these game-changing features of DFM? First and foremost, like I said, it's completely UI driven. You will only use DFM. You will not need to log into your NiFi UI to do anything. Everything will be done from within the DFM portal for all of your data deployments. DFM also has very unique feature of automated as well as scheduled deployments. Many times you want to do your data flow deployments during off business hours or over weekends, or when it's maybe the NiFi operations on a vacation. With DFM, you can plan your deployments in advance, take it through an approval process, and schedule it to occur at a predefined time. You do not need any other manual intervention. If you need, you can configure a multi-level approval workflow so that you are sure that what is being deployed is what was intended. It comes with inbuilt version control and rollback feature, so you can compare your NiFi flows against the history. Anything within DFM is completely audit logged, and these audit logs are immutable. So you have a view into who did what, when, whether it was successful or failure. Everything is captured within DFM audit logs. Another very unique feature of DFM is AI generated flows. So you can use AI, the power of AI, to generate NiFi flows. The DFM also has a predefined flow registry which has pre-generated NiFi templates. So you do not have to start your development from scratch. You can use those templates. You can use those templates to start NiFi flow development. DFM also has automated flow validation and flow optimization. So it can look into the source code of your NiFi flows and suggest what needs to be. It can suggest you enhancements or optimizations which will help that flow work more efficiently. But that's not all. Besides NiFi data flow management, DFM also comes with your NiFi cluster management. Using this feature, you can set up a completely new NiFi cluster on your own from scratch with just few clicks. You can automatically upgrade or patch or apply patches as the open source NiFi is, as they are released in the open source NiFi cycle. You can apply those patches within your clusters using DFM. It also has easy integration with existing authentication systems. It can integrate with SSO, Kerberos, or LDAP. It provides real-time logging and monitoring for all alerts and all operations which are happening within your NiFi clusters. Because DFM is completely built over top of open source NiFi, so you are free to develop your own custom processors and deploy them on your NiFi cluster using DFM. All right, let's see how DFM actually works. Let me share my screen and let me know once it's visible to all. Okay. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So once you have logged into DFM, the homepage of DFM or the dashboard, this is how it looks like. Now, DFM comes with, so you have to first set up DFM or you have to onboard your clusters within DFM. You do that using clusters tab. Over here, you have to specify your certain cluster details like cluster URL, your registry URL, your access credentials, these standard things. And once those are provided, you will have your cluster listed within the clusters menu. You have complete control of who can do what on this cluster. So you need to create roles and align those roles to permissions. You have roles and permissions tab. DFM comes with predefined access permissions. You can create your own roles, match these permissions to these roles, and then you can assign these roles to users. Then those users will only be able to see what they can based on those access permissions that they have. With DFM, you also control which clusters can those users see. So maybe you have 10 clusters, but your development team may only be able to see only your low level environments. So they can only have access to those clusters. Your NiFi ops team may need to work only on production and pre-prod clusters. So they will access only those clusters. They will not be able to perform any other operations on any other cluster. So DFM has all of this inbuilt, and this can be done very intuitively within DFM. So once you have onboarded your clusters, you have configured your roles, your permissions, the NiFi admins or the operations users can start leveraging DFM for many different things. One of the most important things is about NiFi data flow deployments. So let's see how DFM helps you do a data flow deployment in a very in in a least intrusive way. So let's say I'm logged into my UAT NiFi cluster. I have to deploy a new flow which has been committed by my development team and has been, let's say, tested by my QA team. I go to deploy because this cluster is already onboarded. It fetches the registry details, and from there it selects all, it fetches all the buckets that are there. I select, let's say, this data ingestion bucket. Then I can select the flow which I want to deploy. Let's say I want to do a file transfer deployment. I then have the option to select the version which I want to deploy. There are two versions. This is NiFi data flow. So let's say I select the latest version which I want to deploy. Let's say number 2. I click on continue. Now, this is again a very unique feature of DFM. I see a mini map of NiFi canvas. What I would have been otherwise, when I log into my NiFi, NiFi UI, I will see the same canvas. This is the mini version of that. So over here, the orange reflects the process which I'm going to deploy. Green reflects the processes which are already deployed in my cluster. So here I have only one process which is deployed and I'm deploying a new process. So I have the option, I can drag and drop this process which I'm going to deploy anywhere on this mini canvas. This will show on the main NiFi canvas also in this location. This is very useful and very helpful when, let's say, you have hundreds of NiFi processors deployed on your canvas. And then if you want to see where was this process deployed, so you can select that position over here, and on NiFi canvas also, you will see it at the same position. So let's say I want to do it, let's say to the left of the existing process group. Okay. I can verify my NiFi and my registry URL. I click on continue. Because it's a NiFi flow, so I can set, let's say, my parameter context, maybe my variables or any control service, which is required by that NiFi flow. Once I have set that, I click on continue. It shows me a summary of what is about to happen. It's because I set it version 2, so I can verify it's showing version 2. Then, very importantly, what action do I need to do after deployment? So the post deployment steps. When this flow is deployed, post that, do I want to start this flow? Do I want to stop this flow? Let's say I want to start this flow after deployment is done. So I select start flow, I confirm it. And now once I click on deploy, DFM does its magic. It is fetching the process from registry. It is validating the configuration. It is updating configuration as per my anything that I may have set in my context, my control service, anything, right? And then it is deploying that process on NiFi cluster, that same version which I said, which I selected, and it will deploy it on NiFi canvas at the same location which I selected in the mini map. Once this is all done, it will take the post deployment steps, and because I had selected to launch these processes, so it has launched this also. Now let's go and verify that this actually happened. So I'll log into my NiFi instance. So here is my NiFi UI, right? I've already logged into this. And over here, let's see. So this was the original process, like I said, which was only there. And then I deployed the file transfer process to left of it. So you can see on NiFi canvas, it is showing on the left. And because I selected it to be started after deployment, so it is running also. Let's verify the version. I had selected version 2. And version 2 is the one which is deployed over here also. So you see, I was able to use DFM to do a NiFi flow deployment without any glitches, without having any technical knowledge of NiFi. I only need to understand how DFM works, and I can manage my NiFi deployments from DFM. All right. Okay. Now let's say for some reason my deployment ran into some issue and I had to roll it back. So what do I do in that case? All I need to do is again I need to go to DFM. I select the process which I want to upgrade or downgrade. All I need to do is again everything same. I just go back and select the previous system which I want to deploy. So I select this, click on continue. Again, any NiFi flow related configuration that I need to do in terms of maybe parameter context, variables, or control service, I configure that over here. I click on continue. Again, DFM shows me what should be post deployment step. Let's say I want to keep it running. So, and DFM is intelligent, right? It understands that from version 2, I'm downgrading to version 1. So it shows me downgrade. I click on to downgrade. And DFM again fetches the process definition from registry, exports it, validates it, configures it, and then does the deployment in cluster. And it is now done. Let's go and verify it. Over here, let me just refresh it. So let's see the version. Now I can see that it has been downgraded to version 1. So roll back with few clicks, without any hitches, without any challenges. That is the power of DFM. All right. Now, another very useful feature of DFM, schedule deployments. Let's say I wanted to run this deployment maybe at a time when my ops people might not be available. So I can pre-plan for that deployment. I click on schedule deployment. I select again the process I want to do the deployment. Let's say I select again, maybe let's say I want to deploy again file transfer only. I'm deliberately choosing a process which has already been deployed. Okay, I select the latest version. DFM is intelligent. It tells me that this process is already deployed. Do you still want to do this? Let's say I want to do this. So I click on continue. Again, now there are already two processes already deployed in NiFi. So we can see two green bars and this orange which I'm going to deploy. Let's say I deploy it on top of these two. Okay. So I'm deploying a new version of file transfer, version 2, but I'll be running it at a predefined future time. Let's say I click on continue. Okay. So because it's scheduled deployment, I'll now select the time and date when I want to do deploy. Let's say I want to do it on a weekend. I want to do it at, let's say, midnight. So midnight of a Saturday, I want to run my NiFi deployment. Imagine without DFM, you will need to have a NiFi operation person sitting and monitoring this deployment and actually doing this data flow deployment. With DFM, this can be pre-planned and executed without that person being available at that time. All right, maybe I want to keep this flow stopped after the deployment. Let's say I select stop. I can again validate any information that needs to set with that flow, context, variables, or controller service. I click on continue. DFM again shows me a summary screen. It shows me the time and it will be deployed and what will be the post deployment actions. And I click on to schedule. Once I do this, DFM has taken the necessary action. It has put this process into a deployment schedule. Over here, I can see what deployments are already scheduled. And because it's a newly scheduled deployment, DFM has a approval workflow associated with it. It shows me at this time that this deployment is pending for approval. At the same time, DFM would have also sent an email to the approver. So the approval would have received an email stating him which flow is being scheduled, when it is being scheduled, and he can approve or reject that from that email. He can do the same action from within DFM over here. And over here, let's say I want to approve this deployment. So I click on to approve. It shows me to confirm. And once I have confirmed it, this deployment is approved. I can still, in case need be, cancel this deployment altogether. All right. Now, again, imagine, like I said, right, this deployment occurring at midnight of a Saturday. You do not need to have your NiFi admin waiting and executing this deployment, spending his midnight, for doing this. He has pre-planned it, he has scheduled it, and it is all set to execute on its own. All right. So now all that I did within DFM, right? This all is audit logged, and where we can see that audit log within the activity history tab. Over here, we can see the recent action that I did was approving that deployment. So, this was the event. What was the entity? What was the process group or the NiFi data flow which was being targeted, right? On which cluster, which version, whether it was success, failure, who did, what time, everything is captured within DFM. I had earlier downgraded a process, that is also captured. I had earlier deployed a process, that is also captured. I had logged into this cluster, so that is also captured. So everything is captured within DFM. You can filter those events based on entity, event, or their status. You can see this activity history shows activity across your whole cluster. But let's say if I want to limit it to only one, maybe I want to look at only one process group history. So what do? I go to process groups. Over there also have the same option. So I click onto this process group details. It shows me the summary of that process, but at the end, it has this audit log tab. Over here, I can see what all actions have been taken on this process group, by whom, at what time. All those details are available at a process group level also. All right. Then other very useful features of DFM, a flow registry. Flow registry essentially is it's like it shows what all flows are available within your NiFi registry and which version, when were they created. All of that detail is available within the flow registry. You can tag these flows, you can search through these flows, everything can be done through to look at what flows are available in your registry. Then data flow inventory. So DFM also comes with some predefined NiFi flows. So you do not have to start development from scratch. You use these predefined flows and import them in your registry, so they are available to your developers for development and any modification that they need to do. DFM also, like I said, has an AI flow generator. Using this, you can use the power of AI to generate a NiFi flow by typing in natural language. So maybe I may just type in, like, I want to generate a flow for this, which will do this. Like I am typing in my, just like I'm speaking. So I'll type in that requirement and DFM will generate me a NiFi flow based on that requirement. So that concludes the demo. I think if we have any questions, feel free to, maybe I can take a pause and I'm open to take any questions. Let's go back to the presentation meanwhile.
Yes. Is it visible?
Yes. Okay. Let's proceed to the next slide. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat or just being sort of just raise your hand over here. Okay. So again, summarizing it, we saw what DFM brings to what power DFM brings to your NiFi data flow deployments. Right. Now, a quick comparison of DFM with, let's say, if you're using your own self-managed NiFi or using some vendor, maybe enterprise NiFi, right? How does that compare with DFM? First and foremost, deployment and scaling. If you are not using DFM, you are using your own managed NiFi, self-managed NiFi. You have to, like I said, you have to do everything manually. Maybe you have your own scripts. but you still have to maintain them. The process is still error prone and time consuming. Then you also have to ensure your access permissions, everything across different clusters. Again, a very tedious process, right? With DFM, it is all automated, and we can see we saw how simple it was with just few clicks. Performance optimization. To do any performance optimization, you need to understand NiFi flows well. You have to understand how does this flow work. You have to understand the NiFi flow operations, right? So it requires deep expertise on it. You at least you need a good knowledge on NiFi flows and the APIs what they provide. With DFM, it is automated. DFM has inbuilt capability of flow analysis and suggesting what can be done, what can be optimized to make this flow more efficient. Security and compliance. With DFM, you get everything inbuilt. There are inbuilt integrations. Without DFM, you have to do your own sort of integrations, or it requires certain effort, as well as you may have to buy some extra add-on to ensure that you are compliant. For troubleshooting and support, you are dependent on your enterprise NiFi vendor. With DFM, you get real-time alerts with 24/7 NiFi support out of the box. Cost-wise, DFM is very cost efficient compared to any other enterprise NiFi solution out there. And we have some case studies which will explain the difference in cost, which is almost up to 70-75% to the enterprise NiFi vendors out there. So with DFM, you get automation, you get complete control. All right, yes, next slide. So few success stories. Success story one, this is about a US multi-billion shipping giant who were using enterprise NiFi, which was like a licensed enterprise NiFi, for which they were spending almost $1 million, 1 million USD, to support multiple NiFi environments that they had. They had almost 400 CPUs, almost 50 nodes, and 15 to 20 different NiFi environments. With DFM, their costs were reduced to only 120 USD. And today, they have achieved almost 95% reduction in deployment failures and 70% decrease in flow deployment time. Additionally, since DFM is the only tool which provides data flow deployments, so they have been able to schedule data flow deployments. They have been able to achieve complete independence from being dependent on a vendor to sort of a self-managed NiFi data flow deployments using DFM. Next slide. So success, this is second success story. This is again for a company which has been using DFM, and prior to DFM, they were using again an enterprise NiFi solution, which was costing them almost 1.2 million USD. They use NiFi to stream stock market data, and it goes through NiFi and ultimately gets stored into Hive for analytics. This company again has been able to reduce cost to almost USD 200K using DFM. They have seen 75% decrease in flow deployments. Now they do not have any dependency on third party, enterprise NiFi vendor, because even though they were having their own NiFi in-house team, but that team was not able to do any deployments or any custom deployments. They were not able to do any custom processors because that was a limitation of that enterprise NiFi solution. also they were not able to do any data flow deployments because there was no solution, there was no capability within that enterprise NiFi product to do a data flow deployment. Again, next slide. So this is for again a company which is into telecom, and they process almost billions of call data records through their systems, and open source they leverage basically open source Apache NiFi to their pipeline is built using this. So all call data records pass through this pipeline and then they get stored. They had their own manual NiFi deployment approach, and they ran into frequent errors while doing deployments. And they had to do so their deployment failure rate was very high. With DFM, they have been able to reduce 90% reduction. They are able to achieve 90% reduction in their deployment data flow deployment errors. They have been able to optimize their CDR processing, the call data processing NiFi data flow, using the capability of flow analysis within DFM. So we were able to suggest, DFM was able to suggest to them what should they change in their data flow to improve the efficiency of their existing data flow. And obviously it all comes with 24/7 support. So they are very happy, and they have very happy customer of DFM. Next. All right, so that concludes what DFM, what we want to share about DFM. If you are using NiFi, you are doing NiFi data flow deployments, either manually or through any custom scripts, we would suggest try DFM and say goodbye to all challenges with your data flow deployments. DFM will help you reduce your operational costs, as well as it will empower your team to take control of their data flows. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can contact us. Our details are shared. We will be happy to work with you to see how DFM can help you reduce your operational costs and bring efficiencies. Thank you.
I think it was great, Manish. You explained it pretty well about what DFM has been doing and how revolutionary it is. I don't think so there are much questions right now.
All right.
We're
Okay.
going to present ourselves at Gartner event as well.
Yes. Yes.
So we will be there in the month of June. And I hope if people are in Las Vegas, they can attend us there as well. Okay. I think thank you so much for all your time. It was great. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.